The imaging king Oppo Find X9 Ultra just launched, and I immediately grabbed one to tear down. Let's compare Oppo's 10x optical zoom with Samsung and Huawei to see the difference. The X9 Ultra has such a large gap between 3x and 10x. Can digital cropping really make it clear? This generation's 7050 mAh battery, it looks like it might be swappable into the X8 Ultra. Could this be an Easter egg left for us by Mr. Zhang?
It's up to how you all interpret.
Congratulations on catching the teardown of the last 3 replacement gods phone of 2026 right as your battery hits 7%. This phone gets at least 91 update requests from my brothers daily. For this, I splurged $9,499 on the 16GB plus 1TB satellite comms version grand gift package in the Earth Typhoon color. Of the entire X9 Ultra series, I only like this color because it's the only one that has the shadow of the X7 Ultra's peak design from back then. It looks just like a young person's first Hasselblad. Compared to the X7 Ultra's watch design, which do you prefer? I truly can't get over the X7 used look, and the price is so affordable now. It launched at 6,000 yuan, but on Zhuan I see used ones for just 2,028. Let's skip other features for now. Let's directly check out the 10x periscope telephoto lens, which after 2.5 years has finally made its comeback in the phone industry. Now let's compare it with its two predecessors, the legendary Mate 40 Pro Plus and the Samsung S23 Ultra. You can see that even in well-lit conditions, Oppo's optical imaging and algorithms are clearly superior to its two older rivals. Details like brick wall textures are much sharper. Compared to phones without 10 times optical zoom, it's an even more overwhelming advantage. And if we consider slightly darker lighting conditions, the benefits of this telephoto, high pixel, large sensor, truly become apparent. Samsung the Junior. Pause it with the same image. A pause that shows very obvious noise. Pause, but the X9 Ultra's quality. Pause is still very pure. Pause effortlessly clear. Pause another scenario. Pause highlighting its optical advantage. Pause is the clarity of video recording. Pause or the viewfinder. Pause. Even without much pause, moderate AI algorithm involvement. Pause its image quality. Pause remains very clear. Just look at Mailing Reservoir, 3 kilometers straight from me on the map are the S22 dark sites. What's our S23 Ultra's video can zoom 20 times, but at this distance, it's already a bit blurry. However, when zoomed back to normal size, this Samsung is quite impressive. Now let's look at the X9 Ultra's performance. It can zoom up to 30 times by default, and even at 30 times zoom, you can clearly see people moving around. Let me show you the effect from a normal perspective again. This feeling is truly incredible. Now shooting the Ferris wheel feels like you're on the X9 Ultra. Watching, I've made a radar chart of the data from all aspects, and the difference is indeed significant. So what are the differences in the internal design of the lens? Let's go ahead and start the teardown. But first, after heating it up, we'll slice open the back cover. The structural adhesive around the back cover's camera opening is incredibly strong. I almost couldn't pry it open. Wow, look at all this adhesive. The back cover is made of a plain leather material, so it's drop resistant and the bare phone feels great in hand. Like when I used the X7 Ultra, I always used it without a case. So let's check out the internal design of this phone. Out of 91, what score would you give it? Let's compare it with the Vivo X300 Ultra. Honestly, the internal build quality of these two brother brands, OV, is truly flawless. Next, let's remove the motherboard cover. Oh right, let's turn it off first. On this motherboard cover, it integrates an NFC coil, an infrared emitter, an ambient light sensor, a laser focus module, and this 50-watt wireless charging coil. This wireless charging coil is also very thin. I measured it and it's only 0.26mm. This design is to save more internal space and make more room for the battery. The Oppo Find N6 we disassembled before also had the same ultra-thin wireless charging coil. Up top left, you'll find two flash LEDs. They're not dual color temperature, but rather two with varying brightness and dispersion angles, allowing for flash zoom while shooting. That's pretty high-end. And this little guy below is its second generation Dangxia original color lens. Its main purpose is to restore colors. Compared to the first gen Dangxia lens, its most significant upgrade is that it now supports being called upon even when recording video. This motherboard cover, though small, is fully featured. Flipping to the back, you'll find a powerful component. The top speaker is directly integrated into the top right corner. It uses an AAC Technologies 1510X speaker. Compared to the X8 Ultra's 1012 speaker, the upgrade is quite noticeable. We'll compare the sound quality in a moment. Oh, and now let's dive into disassembling the X9 Ultra's most significant imaging module. Once disassembled, you'll find that these cameras all feature a punch hole and VC design underneath, allowing direct heat contact to the camera, preventing overheating or frame drops during shooting. And once disassembled, there's a very counterintuitive aspect. This one that looks quite massive is actually the 3x mid-range telephoto, while the one with a rather peculiar shape is the 10x periscope telephoto. Because this 3x telephoto lens uses a 200 megapixel 101.28-inch large sensor CMOS designed to be mounted sideways, its volume will be relatively large. The 10x periscope telephoto, however, uses Oppo's classic inverted periscope design. While the previous X8 Ultra's 6x had 3 reflections, this X9 Ultra's reflection count has directly reached an exaggerated 5. The optical path reflection also changed from this appearance to this appearance.
Physics is gone.
More reflections naturally lead to more stray light. So to combat this stray light, Oppo innovated a 4-micron precision air layer. So to summarize, what are the differences in imaging setup compared to the previous X8 Ultra? First, the main camera sensor is slightly smaller, but it has 200 megapixels. It can pixel bin 4-in-1, and with a large aperture, its light intake is still greater than the previous generations. As for the 3x telephoto, its sensor size, pixels, and aperture are all fully upgraded. And the 10x,
But the ultra-wide telephoto uses a 2.75-inch Samsung sensor. At this aperture ratio, the sensor size is pushed to its limit. The ultra-wide, compared to the previous gen, upgraded from a 2.75-inch to a 1.95-inch LYT 600 sensor. So overall, every lens in this generation has been upgraded.
Looking at the overall camera setup, I think this 3x telephoto is even more impressive than its 10x telephoto, because its 3x telephoto sensor is even larger than many phones' main camera sensors, and it also has a very large aperture, plus 200 megapixel and in-sensor zoom technology. In the middle of the sensor, it can recreate a small sensor for imaging, which means it adds an optically high-quality 6x lens between the 3x and 10x, and that's very powerful.
If you want to experience ultra-level photography but your budget is much tighter, I think a used X7 Ultra is still a great option. These phones have undergone multiple official quality checks, so their quality is guaranteed. Then we'll remove the motherboard.
This time, the motherboard made way for this super powerful camera module, so a massive cutout was made in the middle, and the bottom plate has more layers than before. As for the performance trio, as a top-tier flagship, it's definitely the 5th gen Snapdragon 8 Extreme, plus Samsung's LPDDR5X and UFS 4.1. It's fully maxed out, as it should be. Moving to the charging port, after removing the speaker cover, the motor and cable connections have cushioning foam. The craftsmanship is still very detailed. The bottom speaker specs are identical to the top, a symmetrical 11/5x port. Comparing its sound quality to the previous X8 Ultra and competitor X300 Ultra, pås du vilken hardware de make? Do you think the upgrade is significant? The charging port's small board is taken off. This time, the transfer speed is the flagship standard USB 3.2 Gen 1. I mean, no flagship should be using USB 2.0 anymore, right? And there's another impressive feature. The subboard alone has 2 microphones, plus the 2 on the main board and the main board cover. That makes a total of 4 microphones. Other brands' flagship phones usually only have 3. The motor used here is an 0816 X-axis linear motor. In O-series phones, models like the X9 Pro, GT8 Pro, and AC60 all use the 0816. This motor configuration offers a good balance of function and internal space. Finally, let's remove the battery. Its capacity has been upgraded from the previous generation's 6000 mAh to 7050 mAh, and the battery from the previous generation. The dual cell design of the previous generation has been replaced by a single cell, dual port design in this one, which charges faster and has a longer lifespan. I also noticed something. The cell size in this generation is basically the same as the last, both being 61774, and the power interface looks identical as well.
So what do you think would happen if we tried swapping them? The battery is out and the dimensions of the cells look identical. Wait, hold on. Why does this X8 Ultra have a dual cell single connector setup? I always thought it was 2 separate ones. It won't connect, guys. What was I thinking?